You know that feeling, right? When you're trying to really get your head around something complex, maybe like finding the perfect words, the exact incantation to get an AI to create the image you actually see in your mind.
Oh, absolutely. You've got articles saved everywhere, maybe some random notes.
Yeah, YouTube tutorials you only watched halfway through.
Yeah,
It can feel like this massive jigsaw puzzle, you know?
definitely scattered.
Well, for this deep dive, we're focusing on a tool designed to, well, help make sense of all that information overload, specifically for mastering image generation prompting.
Okay.
It's called Google's Notebook LM. Think of it as a super smart research assistant, but the key is it only focuses on the resources you provide it.
Ah, right. So instead of searching the whole web, it digs into your specific stuff. That's interesting.
Exactly. What's really compelling is that idea bringing clarity but grounded in your knowledge base. For someone really serious about understanding image prompting nuances, well, this targeted approach could be a real game changer.
I can see that. It focuses the AI's power where you need it.
Absolutely. So think about it. You've been collecting articles, maybe comparing different AI image models. Perhaps you've even transcribed some key bits from video demos about prompting techniques.
Or save prompts that actually worked well for you.
Right. All that stuff. Notebook LM can take it, Google Drive docs, PDFs full of research, simple text files, web links, even audio and video transcripts.
Wow, okay. That's versatile.
Yeah, and it becomes your personalized hub for understanding it all. It really respects how you gather information, whatever format it's in.
And that versatility, handling different formats, it tackles a big challenge, doesn't it? Information usually lives in these separate little boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So by bringing them together, Notebook LM could help you get a much more, well, complete picture of image generation prompting.
Right. And it's more than just a fancy digital filing cabinet. The real magic, I think, is its ability to actually understand and connect the dots within your sources.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, they talk about source grounding. Basically, any answers or summaries it gives you come directly and only from the materials you've uploaded.
Ah, so no weird random info pulled from who knows where online.
Exactly. That builds trust. Plus, it has this great citation feature, so you can always click and see exactly where the AI got that specific piece of information in your original document.
That's crucial for checking things.
For sure. And because it's multimodal, it can genuinely process and understand text, audio transcripts, and yeah, even the content of videos you feed it.
So you could, what, ask it to compare prompting tricks from two different YouTube videos you uploaded?
Precisely. Based just on the transcripts. Imagine that. That's the kind of potential we're really digging into today.
Okay, so for someone listening wanting to get better at crafting, really effective image prompts, how does Notebook LM actually help? Let's talk functionalities.
Okay, so first step is pretty straightforward. You feed Notebook LM your materials, your collection on image prompting.
Articles, research papers, your own notes.
Yeah, articles maybe comparing styles for Midjourney versus Stable Diffusion, papers on specific keywords, even just your own trial and error notes. You get them in there.
Right.
Then this feature called the Notebook Guide kicks in. It can automatically create summaries, FAQs, study guides, even a table of contents for everything you just uploaded.
So like an instant roadmap to your own research collection.
Exactly. It gives you that high-level overview right away.
I can see the value there immediately.
Yeah,
Saves a ton of time compared to manually sifting through everything.
totally. You get a structured starting point, helps you see the main ideas and maybe where you need to focus more on the prompting details.
Makes sense.
But where it gets really, really powerful, I think, is the interactive Q&A.
Okay.
You can just ask it questions in plain English,
Mm-hmm.
directly about your sources,
Like what?
anything. Like, according to these papers, what are the best negative prompts for getting rid of weird artifacts? Or maybe, based on these tutorials, how does using aspect ratios change between DALL-E 3 and Midjourney?
And it answers based only on what I uploaded.
Yes,
Ouch.
grounded specifically in your materials, and it shows you the citations. You know exactly which document, which paragraph that answer came from.
It's like having a conversation directly with your research pile.
Kind of, yeah. Guided by an AI that can spot connections maybe you wouldn't have seen just reading through.
That direct questioning with the AI doing the synthesis work, I can see how that could uncover some subtle points or comparisons you might miss otherwise.
For sure, it pushes you to engage more actively with the material, especially with something complex like prompt engineering.
Definitely more active than just reading,
And to help you keep track of the really important nuggets, there's the pinboard feature.
like a digital corkboard.
Pretty much. As you're exploring, you find a key insight, a great example of a prompt. whatever, you can save it to this pinboard.
So it becomes your personalized cheat sheet, basically.
Yeah, your collection of the absolute essential stuff. Makes it easy to go back and refresh your memory on what makes a really effective image prompt.
Okay, so organizing text, visual insights. But you mentioned audio earlier. There's another way to engage.
Yes. Okay, this one's interesting. Beyond the pinboard, there's this thing called Audio Overview.
Tell me more.
It essentially takes your uploaded stuff, articles, transcripts, whatever, and turns it into a spoken discussion, like a mini podcast episode, but generated by AI.
Wait, really? 2 AI voices talking about my notes?
Yeah, 2 AI voices. Imagine listening to a conversation summarizing different ways to get, say, stylistic consistency in AI art, pulling directly from the articles you provided.
Huh. So you could listen while commuting, maybe?
Exactly. Or walking the dog, whatever. It frees up time, obviously, but also sometimes hearing things discussed, even by AI, can make complex ideas about prompting just click in a different way.
That makes sense. Auditory learning definitely complements visual. Hearing concepts discussed could offer a fresh angle, especially for intricate stuff like prompt engineering.
And the sources we looked at said the AI voices are actually pretty good. The conversations flow surprisingly naturally.
But, I sense a but.
Well, yeah, it's important to remember it's still AI interpreting and summarizing. One article, while liking the feature, pointed out you don't really have much control over the nuance of the AI's discussion.
Right. You can't direct the conversation.
Exactly. So it's a fantastic tool for getting an overview of prompting strategies, maybe hearing connections highlighted, but critical listening and always going back to your original sources. Still absolutely key for deep understanding.
That's a crucial point. The AI gives you its synthesized take, but your own judgment, your own digging into the source material, that's vital for really mastering the subtleties of good prompting.
Definitely. The audio overview is maybe a great starting point or a good way to reinforce things, but not a replacement for digging in yourself.
Got it. So let's make this practical. How could someone listening right now actually use Notebook LM on their path to becoming a prompting wizard?
Okay, good question. Let's say you're about to try out a new image generation model. You want to understand its specific quirks, right?
Sure. Every model seems to have its own preferences.
So you could upload the model's documentation, maybe find a couple of good tutorial articles or videos, feed them into Notebook LM.
And then ask it for a summary.
Yeah, ask it for an overview of key parameters, stylistic things to watch out for. Or maybe you're trying to nail a specific artistic style you've seen generated.
Like cyberpunk or watercolor.
Exactly. You could upload examples of prompts that worked for that style, articles discussing it, and then use Notebook LM to ask, hey, what are the common elements here? What techniques keep popping up?
So it helps you reverse engineer successful prompts based on your examples.
Potentially, yeah. The real strength seems to be how it adapts to what you need to learn right now.
Whether you're just starting with basic prompts or trying advanced techniques.
Right. It tailors the assistance based on the resources you actually give it.
The guides we saw had some specific query examples too, didn't they?
They did. Like, you could ask it to highlight any contrasting approaches to photorealism described in these different articles. That helps you quickly spot the key differences between models or techniques.
Or, for nailing an aesthetic, ask it to identify recurring keywords or style instructions in these prompt examples for, say, cartoon style.
Those kinds of targeted questions show how it goes beyond just summarizing. It helps you compare, find patterns within your own curated stuff.
Which should speed up figuring out what makes certain prompts work for specific results.
Exactly. Now, it's not perfect. We should definitely mention a couple of caveats.
Okay, good to know.
One source mentioned that sometimes the AI's choice of which citation to highlight might seem a bit random, or maybe not the most relevant one.
So double-checking the source text is still important.
Always wise, yeah. Just quickly click back to the original, make sure you're getting the full context. Don't just take the AI snippet as gospel.
That's just good practice anyway, right? Especially with complex topics like prompting, where one word can change everything. AI is a tool, not an oracle.
Well put. And there were also a few mentions here and there of the AI occasionally just missing information that is in the sources or making small errors. Little brain farts, you could say.
Okay, so it reinforces the need for your own critical eye.
Absolutely. Your judgment is still paramount. But on the privacy side, Google is quite clear that your uploaded data isn't used to train Notebook LM itself.
That's a big deal, actually, especially if you're experimenting with, say, proprietary prompting strategies or sensitive project ideas.
For sure. Knowing your research isn't feeding the machine is important.
Definitely.
But what feels really valuable, beyond the summaries and stuff, is how NotebookLM encourages this deeper dive, this back and forth with your materials.
How so?
You can ask follow-up questions. You can say, okay, tell me more about that technique, or how does that compare to what this other document said? It's not just passive reading.
It's more like an active dialogue.
Exactly. You're actively constructing your understanding through that dialogue with the AI, which is mediating your conversation with your notes.
That interactive piece really does shift it from just consuming info to actively inquiring and discovering, building a stronger, more connected grasp of image prompting principles.
Totally. And remember those structured outputs, like the FAQs and study guides?
Yeah.
They are generated specifically from your uploaded content on image generation. So if you uploaded dense academic papers.
The study guide will reflect that complexity.
Right. But if someone else uploaded beginner tutorials.
Their guide will be tailored to that level. It's
Yeah.
personalized.
Exactly. One user we read about was even using it to basically quiz themselves on AI concepts for certification based purely on their uploaded study materials.
That's a smart application. Using it for active recall and self-testing on prompting techniques.
Yeah. The ability to get these personalized learning aids on demand seems like a huge plus. Structured reviews, self-assessment, all based on the specific stuff you've gathered on image generation.
Makes the learning process much more efficient.
And finally, just practically speaking, it seems designed to slot into how people already work.
Handles lots of file types, you mentioned.
Yeah, handles different formats. And the outputs, the summaries, the insights you pin, you can save those and use them elsewhere, build on them.
Integration is key for adoption.
For sure. And someone even mentioned a Chrome extension that apparently makes it super easy to just grab websites or whole YouTube playlists and add them directly to NotebookLM.
Oh, nice. Streamlining that initial gathering phase
Yeah.
for resources on image prompting.
Exactly. Reduces the friction, lets you focus more on the actual understanding and applying the prompting techniques.
Okay, that makes it feel like a genuinely practical tool.
So wrapping up, if you listening are looking for a way to really get a solid handle on all the information swirling around about image generation prompting.
Which can feel like drinking from a fire hose sometimes.
Right. NotebookLM really does offer a compelling approach. By keeping the AI focused, grounded in the sources you trust, and letting you have this dynamic conversation with that information.
It helps you move from feeling overwhelmed to actually building real understanding, grasping the nuances.
Precisely. And it's worth remembering it's currently free to experiment with while it's in, its experimental phase.
So folks can try it out themselves.
Definitely give it a whirl. As AI keeps evolving, tools like this, like NotebookLM, they're giving us these increasingly personalized, really efficient ways to learn and make sense of complex stuff.
It's a glimpse into a different way of learning.
So here's maybe a final thought to chew on. With a tool like this, one that lets you have a deep AI-powered discussion focused only on the specific info you've gathered about image generation, what new creative doors, what new levels of mastery in that craft might that unlock for you?
That's a powerful question.
Why not give NotebookLM a try? Feed it your own collection of prompting articles, notes, tutorials, play around with Q&A, maybe listen to an audio overview. You might just surprise yourself and unlock a whole new level of understanding.